Go.
Hello guys, BJ on Game Day here. You got Brent, you got Joshy, back for another review of the week, round 7. Joshy, how'd you go, mate?
Mate, pretty average. I managed to crack the ton just, thanks to Damien Cook's 100% update over today. 1,015, but not enough to keep me where I was ranked on the ladder. I've slipped back from about 9,000 just over the 10,000 mark. So, nothing too bad, but yeah, just an average week. Yourself?
Another howler, mate. Have failed to crack the 1,000 again, 997. Basically doubled my rank, so I've blown out from late 800, the 700s out to sort of late 1500s. So not great, but still not that bad considering my scores the last couple of weeks.
Still got to keep in that key ring range, mate.
Yeah, still, I'd like to think so. I mean, I just had, guys I talked up last week, Rapana Roberts, who I brought in, Coruscant Evans, Cherry Evans, they just all flopped. So to be honest, to get around 1,000, two of us captain, I'll actually probably take that, to be fair.
Yeah, but, fair enough.
Hopefully I can change it real quick. I'll be happy to crack 1,000 if I can.
Yeah, definitely.
BJ on Game Day League.
Big week for Cam Coxwell, Serenity now, top scored for the league, 1209. He's jumped up to second on the ladder. He is 7 points behind you. He is breathing down your tail. You better watch out, mate. Mate, he said straight from the start that he'd be chasers. He'd be the one to beat. He kicked off after the first round. I think he was running last, and he's turned that around completely. So well done to Cam. Good week, mate.
It just goes to show it doesn't take much to turn it around. I mean,
no.
I've scored just under 1,000. He's made 200 on me. So if you can keep doing it, it's pretty quickly made up. So.
And he's star player. And the star player of the week, Mitchell Moses. You're a prick. Finally did what I'd been talking about for the first 7 or 8 weeks. Parramatta went large. Manly looked absolutely terrible. And Mitchell Moses just orchestrated him around the park. Absolutely beautiful. 138 points, I think it was. I mean, this is the Parramatta side I've been waiting for. I don't think they were that brilliant. I think Manly were just that uninterested in playing. It was a complete reversal from when we saw first play each other when Manly got them 54-0. I'm not too sure what's going on at Manly, but they need to get themselves around really quick smart. But the Eels look good. Yeah,
mate, Moses, it was pretty to watch, to be honest. I mean, I was pretty keen on that game because I have quite a few fellas going around in my Supercoach team, but it was the Mitchell Moses show. Some of that stuff he was doing was the stuff he was doing last year. I mean, that ball to Jennings, that cut-out ball he threw.
That was beautiful.
He's done that little chip. I mean, he might have, I don't know, set up 5 or something like that. Like, he was in absolutely blistering form, and it was actually pretty to watch. I mean, I don't have him, but it was unreal. So, a bit of egg on the face. I think I finally bagged him last week after just holding my tongue, and he's blown out this massive score. So if you had him, Cam played him, obviously. Well done to you. I couldn't have done it with what he was producing, but that's what Supercoach is all about.
Yeah, taking those risks.
And he's gone now. He's got a 70k rise, minus 20 odd break even, 400k. Like, are you getting on again now? Like, what's happening? Like, plays round 13. What's doing? So,
look, I mean, talk about him being the origin, but the way it goes with the New South Wales halfback spot, I mean, all you need is one good game and they start talking about you. And especially, obviously, now with Mitchell Pearce out, big one on the injury list this week was 16 weeks. I think we've read anywhere it can be from anywhere between 10 and 16 weeks. So, unlucky for Knights fans like yourself, mate.
It's an absolutely shattering injury, to be honest. And I just felt like we started to click a bit and then we're getting a bit of that cohesion there, and the Ponga-Pearce combo was working so well. It's an absolutely devastating injury as a fan. We'll have to wait and see. I think we've got a big test this weekend against Manly up in Lotto Land after what they've just spat out the last couple of weeks. We'll find out a lot about the Newey side this weekend, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, look, it's a big worry. We've obviously seen a lot from Newcastle in that first 7 weeks, the new combinations, the new players. Ponga looks absolutely awesome. Is he as good without the delivery from Mitchell Pearce?
Well, I think that's the big question now. I think whilst what he's doing is absolutely amazing, the work that's going on inside of him is what's a bit unsung. The service and the ball that he's getting is unreal. So this will be also where we find out a lot about Ponga. I think he is that good. Like, I know it's basically his first season there, and teams don't really know what he's able to do, but it doesn't matter, to be fair. Like, you can't tackle what you can't touch, you know. Like, the kid is unreal, and he's got the vision. Like,
he does, yeah.
There was a ball to Seo he threw.
That three-man cutout, yeah.
And he had a split second to throw it. Like, you can't teach that. And well, he's scary good. He's scary good.
The pass Mitchell Moses threw, the pass he threw, the pass Vunivalu threw on Friday night for Adokar on the wing was 10 times better than the other two. But yeah, that's a winger to another winger. Like, that was ridiculous.
Coming off his right wing in centre field, playing first receiver. Like.
Yeah, some really, really good footy to watch over the weekend.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice. Mate, other ones on the injury list, especially ones that affect both of us. Tohu Harris.
Yeah, mate. So, just the timing of it was unfortunate. I didn't actually catch that game, so I didn't hear what the injury was. So it was a HIA, pretty bad one, I heard, and just now, unfortunately, because of the schedule of the games,
5-day turnaround.
He's not able to play. So massive loss for anyone that had him. I was already struggling having Brown and Sam Burgess, so that's a big loss. But it's just one of those ones you're gonna have to cop on the chin. You can't possibly sell him if you've got him, I don't think. But it stinks, that one. I'm salty.
It's a brutal week. It's a brutal time of the year for Supercoach. You know, SJ's been ruled out again this week. Yep. Burgess has gone for 2 weeks after taking the early guilty plea today. It's just, it's a bit tough at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously SJ owners as well.
Yep.
Maybe mention that.
Yep.
I mean, he's now just missing this week as well. So, like, what's going on with that? Like, no one even knows. That could be, if he's just going to get ruled out now from week to week because he's got a dodgy groin, that's shocking news for SJ owners.
We look at Mannering for the first 6 weeks of the season. You know, you thought he was back for round 1, then it was round 2, round 3. SJ could be the same. The Warriors seem to keep everything under wraps. You know, Solomon Akata last week was named, and all of a sudden he's out for 4 or 6 weeks. You know, so pretty tough at the moment just to follow and make sure you got the right team on the park.
Yeah.
Andrew McCulloch, another one, mate. Pretty bad elbow injury.
Yeah, so it was an elbow
medial strain.
An elbow medial, so it looked pretty bad on field. I thought it was a bicep initially, but yeah, he just copped a shoulder, the back of the elbow there. That looks like it would be, is it 4 to 6?
Yeah, about 4 to 6 they're saying.
4 to 6, so massive loss for Brisbane. I mean, they're probably going to have to give Nicarima a go there now. Yeah. I don't know what their options are. Although that being said, Bird wasn't too good in the halves on the weekend. So
no.
Joshy Maguire can play hooker as well, but I'm not entirely sure what the plan will be. They got that young Todd Murphy there, I think, as well. So interesting to see their team list. But that is a massive injury for Brisbane, who were sort of coming good but still struggling. So they didn't really need that one.
And that's the thing. It's tough for the Broncos. We looked at them in the first couple of weeks of the season. Without McCulloch, they just didn't look good. There was no speed. There was no line speed out of attack. You said it, Bird, look, he's a great player, he's a great utility, but he's not a halfback. No. He doesn't look good there. Milford, as much as he's a great player at times, he doesn't have the ability to run the show for 80 minutes. I'm really not liking the Broncos at the moment. I think they're in danger if these injuries keep going and then Origin depletes them. They could miss the 8 this year.
Yeah, I think they're showing signs of that they're not the that powerhouse that they definitely once were. They're now in a competition that's so strong and so even. You got to be on it, and they're definitely not on it at the moment. I mean, the loss of McCulloch takes away a threat. You know, pretty much everything's going to go to Milford most of the time now. Yeah, and he makes 50 tackles a game. Milford's not a 7. He's not a game managing 7. Yeah, you need him run the ball. I think they'd be better off putting Boyd in the halves, throw Milford at fullback, but that's not going to happen. So,
well, I'd love to see Milford take the 7 and Boyd come into the 6. Chuck Bird back there at fullback, you know, just see what he can do, maybe for a game, experiment a little bit.
It's gonna, and they take on South this weekend, who are playing some pretty good footy as well. So that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, yep. Mate, Jared Haynes gone down again. Same or similar kind of injury, the quad hip flexor.
So it didn't look like there was much in it. It was like he got sniped on field. Yeah. He was just running and went down and didn't get back up. So would be interesting to see how he went on the wing. Obviously they got the win, which was good for Parra. But I don't know how relevant it'll be Supercoach wise. But
I saw something that I liked there.
You did call it earlier in the year, tracking on the wing, and I thought, the old body, they won't do it, but I think good call, and maybe they'll experiment with it.
In that 15 minutes before he got injured, they went down that side, they scored a try. It actually looked good out there, and I think Parramatta were a lot more comfortable without him being involved in ball playing and things like that. So, look, I hope he can get back, because I reckon they're a better team with him on the wing.
Well, I think as well, the addition of Gutho, that confidence for him. Gutho's just one of those guys, he trots around like he's a rooster, like he's real confident.
Yep.
And I feel like that's starting to rub off on the halves. Yeah. Like if Moses and Norman are confident, and you got guys like Gutho sniffing around, and some of their wingers like Hayne and Manu Ma'u and all that, if they get that confidence back, we're going to be the side that we thought they were going to be at the start of the year. And I don't think they're too far off it after what they showed on the weekend. If those halves can stay confident, Gutho's only going to get better every week. I think they're going to be
coming back from that knee, and Gutho from a Supercoach point of view, he's got a big break even this week. He's going to drop a lot of cash. If he's someone you're looking for that pod in the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks, they play round 13. Some good options there. Yeah,
I guess my only thing is I wouldn't think he's going to play Origin, but you don't know this year. I just have no idea where Fittler will be at. If Gutho plays well for the next 4 or 5 weeks, there'd be no reason why he could maybe get a utility spot off the bench. I don't know. Throw him in there. The guy's got it. So, really interesting to say. I think Gutho's definitely on that watch list. You could nearly pick him up this week if he had a quiet week, but we'll see what happens.
Another injury for J. Brom down in Melbourne, mate. Went off early with the knee.
So another bad one for anyone that had him and played him. Went off pretty early. MCL. It was the grade 1, grade 2, so
it's only a light strain, but enough for a couple of weeks out.
1 to 3 weeks at this stage, so shouldn't be too long, but not a good one for anyone that had him.
Who we got on the watch list this week, mate? Who, obviously, there's a few players with injuries that are getting starts. Who you got your eye on?
Jeez, it's really tough for me this week, because there's a couple guys I want to sell, but they're just not ready. And there's some other guys I want to sell, but they've dropped a little bit of cash. So I'm really up in the air at the moment. I'm really worrying about the buys. One thing I will mention, I mentioned last week about Robbie Rocco. He was about 440k, and I said he's probably a hold till 13.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned it to me. I think if he's only going to pump out 30 points, potentially in that bye week, and does that in the next, 4 of the next 6-8 weeks, he's going to drop that much cash and not even be worth having in your team for round 13 because of the points you could potentially make up going to someone else now. I think it's a good point that you make, and I think he's probably on my cut list this week. Yeah. I'm not sure who I'm going to yet. There's some options around.
I think the guys who have gone into that sort of 400 range and above, that I think they're going to bleed cash. Blokes like Rockow, Matty Lodge. I think the safer ones, if you've got them there, are blokes like Slade Griffin, just because they never got to those heights, so they're not going to drop. If Rockow was still in my team, I traded him out a little while ago. I'd be having him out. I'm looking at offloading Lodge this week, just because I think he's peaked. Don't get me wrong, I think he's still going to start most of the rest of the season and play well, but I just can't see him being a benefit to my Supercoach team anymore.
I think that's probably the right move. It was probably the right move last week. I mean, a couple of them got pretty high break-evens as well, relatively high. So Lodge and Rocco definitely on the potential cut list. That being said, I guess guys like Kickow, potentially, who I don't know if he's actually going to be a trade based on what he's doing, but if you're going to sell him, he's a hold definitely for another couple of weeks.
He's earned himself a few more weeks, at least.
I thought maybe RFM to someone might be a goer, but you couldn't trade him at the moment based on his form. Arrow looks like he's a keeper, so there's not...
James Fisher-Harris was probably one. I was on him from the start. He started to peak as well, so he's another one. Look, tackling machine, but not really getting too much out of him out of attack, so he's sort of only good for that 40 to 50 base stats.
I think the obvious ones for the buyers would be your feeders and your Taumalolos. Probably I'd say at this point for feeders more of a buy at this stage. Mainly because he's in that prop position. There's a heap of, I said it last week, of back rower options, but props are thin and he'll play 13 and he's a form prop in the comp. I think what's changed from when he started the season to the last few weeks is he's getting that offload going. And he's just such a handful when he's getting that offload going. So it's creating things for the Sharks.
That injury from last week didn't seem like anything.
What's going on there? There was a try on the weekend where Dugan put a kick in for Holmes and it was off the back of a feeder offload. So I think he's almost a must now. a big price, 640k. He's got a bit of a high break even at 70 odd, but he could hit it, and he's pretty much going to be a keeper if he keeps it.
You
up.
Talked about the front row stocks. Obviously, it's a little bit light. I'm stacked in the background. I think most people are. Come Origin time, I think Fafita and Burgess have got to be a front row combination. I just think they're the proven guns. They're going to do it, provided obviously they can both stay healthy. If you don't have Fafita yet, obviously a high break even you talked about, but he's playing well.
Yeah, I think you almost, just because he's probably going to get 60, 70, you just take the hit and get the points. And you've got to score points at the end of the day. And there's no point waiting 3 weeks hoping you'll get a 50 if he pumps out at 60, 70, 70 and scores 200 plus points. So it's a hard one. You've got to generate some cash if you don't have any in the bank like me. But I think he's a must. I mean, there's not a lot there. Like a Herman SSA, he's just worth 400k, but he'll get you 50 points. I don't think you really want to have to buy someone like that at this stage of the year. You're better off just going all out.
My big buy of the week we've talked about before we've gone to air is Sione Katoa from Penrith. He's had a good game against the Sharks over the week, and he's playing limited minutes off the bench, but a couple of good solid scores. He's sitting around that $192,000 mark. But good news is that he's got that duality. He's got duality between hooker and second row. So obviously at Penrith, that bench spot's a little bit up in the air. Wade Egan's had it a couple of weeks. Katoa's had it a couple. I think Katoa's sort of earned it with his performance over the last couple of weeks. So I reckon he might be one to look at. He's going to take a bit of a price rise this week. He's got a sort of low minus teens break even, sorry. So might be one to get on.
Yeah, I guess the only concern, he's a good cash grab option, like in terms of being able to go like maybe Rocco or Lodge to him. He's not going to play 13, but he's going to go up this week if he plays. I guess the only issue will be he's created a few things with his scoring. Like if he's not setting up a couple or whatever, he might potentially become a bit of a AE nightmare maybe. But I mean, so far so good. He's only getting about, we got 25 minutes on the weekend and nearly 40 the week before. But I think there's not many guys you can go to generate any cash at the moment. So if you're willing to just take the hit, and if you manage your team and you don't need to worry about AEs, auto emergencies, it's fine, bring him in. I think that duality is really good. So if you maybe want to get rid of a hooker, you can slot him up there, depending on what's doing. So yeah, I think he's a good little sneaky option.
Fair enough. Now, mate, I'm not one to chase last week's points. It's a big thing we talk about in the Supercoach circles is blokes who just sort of have that one-off good game. But, mate, Ken Seo from your boys, the Newey Knights, he looked good on the weekend. Obviously, he's a finisher on the wing. But he backed up this week's 108 from an 80 last week or an 80-odd last week. So, definitely one to look at. He's got a massive low break even, I think minus 70 odd or something. So we'll continue to make cash for the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks. What are your thoughts on him, mate?
Yeah, well, he's just finishing everything at the moment. He's outside Kalen Ponga, and that's pretty much it. He's finishing. I think if you had him, good on you, because he went up about 100 grand this week. I mean, potentially, depending on what you're looking for in your side, you haven't missed the boat. I mean, he's 353k. He's obviously a much nicer prospect around that 250k prospect, but you've missed that. But I mean, he's not going to lose his spot. I can't see him losing his spot. Moga's gone for the season. Ross has gone into the centres. So I think the security's fine. He was always knocking on the door. It was just a bit hard with that backline depth. And I mean, there's no reason to say why he can't keep finishing these sides, these plays for us. I mean, it just depends now with Newcastle. Losing Pearce, how they're going to go creating that space, and Ponga being able to throw those balls. But he was he was playing unreal on the weekend. So yeah, someone you could definitely have a look at. I think he's gonna make some good money this week, even if he only gets a 30. So we'll play 13. Something to think about.
Now I want to ask you about 2 players who I consider in competition with this title, buy of the year. Damien Cook. And you mentioned Kalen Ponga. Both these guys have played out of their skin. Guys, feel free to add your comments to this if there's anyone else you want to throw out there. But to me, these 2 guys have just been, the best performers consistently across the park. What are your thoughts, mate? Who wins out of those 2 as the buy of the year?
That's a real hard one. It's a good question. I think it's got to be Cook. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Ponga, being a Newcastle fan, but from a Supercoach perspective, Cook was a bit cheaper. I guess the hooker position was a little bit more important.
Yep.
There was you were taking a risk on some big money if you went Cam Smith, and even some other guys like Coruscant and McCulloch weren't cheap. But he was a guy that you could have started with as your just straight up hooker, and he's now pretty much established himself as a premium Supercoach hooker. I'd go as far as say, as long as he's getting 80 minutes, his base every week is basically around 50. He hasn't scored under 50 points this week. He's turned up on the weekend, produced multiple 80s, and Ponga's not far off that. But I think, I just lean towards Cook. I don't know why. I just think he's always looking dangerous.
Yep.
I like Cook, but it's a hard one.
I think we're going to find out a little bit more about that with obviously Pearce gone now. That whether Ponga can be as effective in that team. Obviously, Brock Lamb will probably come into the 7 spot, Jack Cogger in the 6. Hopefully, those young guys can all gel well together. But we'll see. But yeah, look, for me, mate, I've got to go with Cook. I think he just looked great in that team. I said a couple of weeks ago that I thought maybe playing the 80 minutes might affect his attacking ability, but I think he's just getting fitter and fitter every week. The south side actually look great in attack. In defence, there's a few adjustments that they've got to make and a bit of work they've got to do. But back to when South won that premiership 4 or 5 years ago, I've always said it. South have always had that mentality. If they could score more points than someone else, you win the game. And I think that's what they look at. They've just got that much strike power. Great in the forwards. Obviously, if they can keep Sam Burgess on the park, they're going to be a threat this year.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier when we did our pre-season podcast that I thought they were in for a big year. They didn't start great, but on paper they got one of the best squads. You got Murray, Crichton, Burgess, boys, Sam Burgess when he's fit. The back line of Reynolds, Walker, GI, Gagai, Kenner's going awesome. They are stacked, and on the back of Cook, he gets those quick little play the balls and gets in behind dummy half. If they can get it right, they're going to cause a lot of trouble this year, and they've been great to watch.
Cody Walker, mate?
Yeah, mate, big fan again. Yeah, always been sort of praising him most of the year, to be fair. I can't believe he's at the price that he's at again. He's
still mid 550.
Mid 500s.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had one bad week where he scored 20, but I mean, go and check out his scores, guys. The guy is just scoring 60s minimum.
Plays 13.
Will play 13. He's got the duality between 5'8" and fullback, and yeah, I think he's just knocking on. He's so dangerous with that ball running, and he's just hard to tackle. They struggle to tackle him. When you got guys like GI, Gagai outside you, and some of those big back rollers run inside you, he's just they struggled him, and then it showed against St George. I mean, there was not much doing for South in that game until he got the ball late and produced something from not much. So I'm a big fan. I'm so tempted to try and get him in. He's sort of missed the boat of it. He's due for probably a couple quiet ones, but I mean, if you're looking for a half, there's your man, I reckon. If you're looking for like a Jacks to someone, I think that's potentially a good trade maybe coming up.
Yeah, fair enough. Mate, Sam Burgess, obviously another indiscretion over the weekend. He's taken the 2 weeks. He's got to be a hold. He plays round 13. He's starting to look brilliant on the field. Look, I don't have him. I was actually going to bring him in this week. I planned ahead for him. I can put that off for another couple of weeks, but yeah, if you got him, you just got to keep him there and hold. Yeah,
it's a massive pain in the ass. He missed 2 weeks, just gone.
Yeah.
If it was any more than 2 weeks, if he had a cop 3 or 4 weeks, I probably would have sold him. You can't have someone with that much money just not playing. For his price, you could have got rid of him and thought about bringing him in. I don't care what you say about wasting trades. You just can't afford to have someone like that sitting on your pine so long. I mean, 4 games is that's just under sort of a fifth of your season, basically. What is it? It is a fifth of your season, virtually. So you can't really afford it. I mean, he's going to play 13, so he's a hold. And he actually played unreal on the weekend. If you didn't do that stupid thing,
that was a brutal hit too. That was a big hit.
It was a big hit, and it just wasn't necessary. The time of the game, they were up. I mean, that's just how, and that's what we said. He's aggressive, and that's just how he plays, which is why we sort of love him. But fuck me,
man. Yeah.
So
Let's talk about the Melbourne wingers. We touched on them briefly last week, alongside Rapana and Roberts. We talked about them. They've had a massive week. A couple of tries again to Addo Carr. He's jumped up about 70k, back up to about 400. Vunivalu, I think, is at about 430k. They're both pretty affordable, considering of how they can go at Supercoach. Addo Carr was dreadful for about 3 or 4 weeks straight. But he is, I guess, he's the beneficiary. When Melbourne play awesome, he's going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, and I think it's that, you can't, there's no substitute for speed.
Yeah.
Speed's a scary attribute, and that was sort of why I went James Roberts. I mean, I ended up bringing in 2 guys and up playing 13 that I thought had some X factor in. Rapana Roberts could have easily been Vunivalu, Addo Carr. I didn't do it, I didn't consider it. But, I think, I know I gave someone in one of my other leagues a heap of curry about starting with Vunivalu with his price tag, but I think now he's 100k cheaper, you've got a bit of form. I think Vunivalu, he's been more consistent of the two.
Yeah.
Addo Carr's definitely got that bigger floor and ceiling at the moment, just because he had those real quiet weeks, but you couldn't go wrong picking him. Melbourne seem to have started to click now, as you mentioned, so... when they're on, those are the guys. I mean, Brisbane just could not stop them guys on the weekend.
I've got to say, and I think come the end of the season, that we're going to see a lot more. Cam Smith looks better at halfback.
Oh, 100%.
That team needs Cam Smith at halfback. They need to find a hooker. We're talking about the greatest hooker in our game, and probably in our game's history. He needs to play number 7 for that team to succeed.
Yeah, and he looks like a 7. I mean, if he didn't have the 90s back, he wouldn't look out of place with the 7, because he's getting that ball sort of that second receiver sometimes, and they just look like they've got plenty of time and space. He's going the right option, so I agree. I mean, it would be a massive punt. I think Jacks will see how that evolves over the course of the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen. I think he'll just keep doing what he's doing. He'll just sort of float out there every now and then when he needs to. But I agree. I think it looks like he's played halfback for years. So that was a pretty interesting one.
Mate, we talked about blokes like Rocco and Lodge being sells, maybe a few others. Anyone else you can add to the list, mate? Yeah,
I mean, my opinion, Peteheku.
Yeah.
He's that mid 400 price at the moment. I'm looking at around 13. I don't know if he's going to be a keeper till the end of the year. Now's probably the time to sell. I think he's got around a 60 break even.
He looks like he's not so much peaked, but that setup with the Warriors team. SJ, we're not too sure about when he's going to come back. Harris is out. It might just be a good time to grab someone cheaper, or transfer to someone like a Vunivalu or an Addo Carr, or take the money with Kenny Seo, like we said.
Yeah, or like dump an extra 50 or 100 on him and get one of these informed guys, like a Croker or someone like that. I think, he just loses that potency. I hope if I do, I'm thinking about trading this week as well.
Yep.
If I do, I hope he doesn't score a try. I think Melbourne have really squared up, so I think without Harris and SJ, he's just a different prospect.
Yep.
And maybe have a think about selling if you got him this week. What about you, mate? You got any others on the list?
No, not really, mate. Not really. Look, I brought in Christian Crichton last week. He had a bit of a stinker against the Sharks. I've got a bit of money in the bank is probably the benefit. I've got about 250k in the bank. So I was thinking about downgrading someone maybe like a Slade Griffin to a Penrith Sione Katoa, put more money in the bank. I could all of a sudden I could go from Crichton back up and just sort of keep the same amount of cash in the bank. It's a bit hard, guys. We're actually filming. It's Monday night at the moment, so team lists haven't come out. We've got a short week. Everything kicking off on Wednesday, so there's going to be a lot of things to look at come team lists tomorrow night, and I'm sure we'll figure out more then.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I've got no idea what I'm doing this week. I'm tempted to not trade, but I think I will, just to make sure I make some money at least.
Yep.
Can I get a lock of the week? Can I get a prediction of a 70 plus this week from you?
Oh,
Give me anyone, doesn't have to be in your team, just someone. Have a quick think.
God, you got me on the spot there.
I need some of our matchups. I'll put them up in front of you here.
Mate,
I'll put him on the spot. We haven't rehearsed any of this. We never rehearse, by the way. Here you go.
Who we got?
Start off on the Anzac Day. Wednesday, a couple games on Wednesday, guys. 4:10. a 7 o'clock game, so early footy this week, which is beautiful.
All right. I could probably say, I reckon Penrith might bounce back. They got the doggies this week. Obviously, they took a loss last week to Cronulla. I think they might have learned a little bit in that loss. I think they went the wrong side of Cronulla's defence for a lot of the game. We saw them score 2 very easy tries in the last 5 minutes. Obviously, it's panic football in the last 5 minutes, but they look at. I think Jimmy Maloney might have another big week. His kick and goal is brilliant, as he always does. I reckon Penrith are probably the ones that I'm loving for actually to take out the premiership this year, and I think it's going to be on the back of Maloney over the next 6 to 8 weeks. He's going to start gunning it for this halfback spot in New South Wales. Now Mitchell Pearce is out. He will be the New South Wales halfback, James Maloney. I think that's a given. I think it's who's going to pair with him in the 6. But he'd be my prediction for the week, mate. I reckon he's going to go high. Whether he cracks the ton, I'm not too sure, but I reckon he's in for a good week for Maloney buyers.
Yeah, no, fair call, mate. Fair call.
Mate, what about captain choices? We both went turbo last week. I jumped off from Tamalolo, and I went turbo. A little bit of a mistake, but it's only sort of cost me about 40 points. Look, it's getting hard. We talked about last week between Teddy, Tamalolo, and Turbo, who was the more consistent. We said Turbo, and he Manly just played like shit.
Yeah, I'm tempted to just leave it on Turbo because he's had a bad week and still scored 40. Yeah, 40s. He's just so always dangerous. And I think they're going to bounce back in a big way. I mean, that's the easy one each week. For Feeder, I just can't get over how much he's offloading the ball. They're playing the Titans this week. He might be due for a pie. If
he goes for 8 or 10 offloads in that game, I can see Cronulla winning by 30 or 40. The Titans, like a lot of teams, are up and down. But I just think Cronulla's got the team with Moylan starting to strike. Dugan looks good. All the vision looks good over the park. I reckon my boys can absolutely towel up the Titans. They don't mind going to Seabus Stadium there on the Gold Coast and playing well. So, for Feeder, just looks solid. Yeah,
man. I think I'm not sold on Tamalolo either. I mean, he scored on the weekend and that's got him his score. Otherwise, he's probably around mid to high 50s.
Yep.
So I'm not as sold on him as I was, but he's still very tantalising this week. But yeah, I mean, I'm liking for Feeder if you got him. I mean, I might even try and bring him in for that reason. Another one, if I had to take a punt, probably Cam Munster. I know you're probably unlikely to captain him because he plays on the Wednesday, but I think he's knocking on the door of something big.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Cam at the moment.
I only caught the highlights of that Melbourne game. He upgraded, I think, was about 35 to 51, but all the talk from commentators and all the experts of the game is that he was the best on the park. Now, it's hard to imagine someone being the best on the park and only scoring 51 Supercoach points, but I guess it just goes to show he's maybe stepping up for this time of the season as well for that Queensland Origin role.
Yeah, he's just getting that confidence back that he's kicking on second and third. That's what he was doing on against Brisbane. He was kicking early and just going with it, breaking those tackles. He looks like he's starting to get back now. So I think it's not long until he produces a score.
Yep. No, fair enough. Mate, we've got some updates on the BJ and GameDay League.
Yeah, mate. So any of the boys that are still watching, anyone that's in the league, there's only 8 other guys apart from us two. Said a couple of weeks ago we'd come up with a prize for the head-to-head grand final winner. So we've got the total points offer, obviously. So what I'm going to do, winner of the head-to-head
season, yep.
This is what we've come up with.
She's a beauty. She's a beauty.
It's a 2017 Rugby League World Cup cap. Don't worry, it doesn't have the tags, but it's actually brand new. I bought it online pretty cheap, to be honest, and that's why I got it. I haven't worn it, so it's brand new. It's pretty cool. It's got all the nation's Rugby League emblems on it. So we'll post that out to whoever wins the head-to-head. It's not much, but it's something, you're not getting anything for it. We'll post it out to you, so we'll keep that there for the rest of the season or whatever. Definitely. Whoever takes out the head-to-head we'll send that out. So. Yep.
Mate, guys, really enjoying the comments at home as well. It's great to banter between everyone chucking in their 2 bobs worth as well. So make sure you hammer the comments. We want to hear anything that you guys have got to say. We'd love the feedback.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, if you think, I mean, we're having a lot of discussions in the YouTube comments, but maybe what do you think about starting up a Facebook page like we've thought about it? Maybe that's the place where we can chuck in updates and stuff as we hear about them. I mean, let us know if you're still watching. If you think that might be a good avenue. I think everyone that's sort of watching us now has pretty much found us through Facebook. So maybe we start up a VG on GameDay Facebook. I know you had that thought, but I think it could be a way to go.
I'd love to see where everyone's from as well. Obviously, we know Teddy's over in New Zealand, Marty's in Perth, say g'day guys. But for everyone else in the league, just chuck down where you guys live, a bit about yourselves. Let's just sort of make it, I guess, a little bit more home feeling, and we can build this bigger and bigger and lead into next season as well.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, boys, that's it for the week. Thanks for your ongoing support. Give us a like, another subscribe, and we'll catch us all next week.